That, to me, what he said, is what inspiration means. To be inspired, to want to live, to want to grow, to want to know, to share all you can share out of just who you are, being true to yourself. I love that. And we're talking about inspired living today. And it's the new year. And as I said, it's got excitement in it and lots of memories. We look over the past year. We have memories of joys and sorrows and triumphs and challenges. I don't know, this year was a little bit bumpy for me. Was it anybody else? Yeah, so I loved what you said, Reverend Janet. For sure, it's bumpy. And when you look back, the beautiful thing about when you look with eyes of inspiration, you can see that the challenges had their gifts and their lessons. And the joys have beautiful things you can carry with you to keep you going and growing. That it all matters, but we have to look at it from that inspired place. We have to look at it with eyes that you want to know and you want to grow and you want to understand. And I think the challenge for me is when I think, okay, I'm ready to give up. I started the year, I mean, this is kind of personal, but with 4 colonoscopies in 8 weeks. That was a tough way to start the year, you know? Gee, many Christmas. And I'd love to say it went up from there. Some down, up and down. But anyway, so everybody's had some, from when I've talked to people, health challenges and personal challenges and business or work or just mastering life challenges. There's been a lot of things going on because it's been that bumpy road. And then we look into the new year, and there's things we can look at as problems, and there's things we can look at as possibilities. So when I said you have to work at that inspiration within you, and as Reverend Janet said, it's the breath of God within us, the breath of life, the breath of possibility within us that is the inspiration that we need to cultivate and grow. When we go from that place, we know that we can be that change that we wish. We can be the light. And we can share that and know it. Inspiration. I love some of the quotes I found for inspiration. One is the human mind. Do you have one of those? How's it working? Sometimes okay, sometimes. Is a channel for something greater than itself. I'm going to say that again. The human mind that we all have is a channel for something greater than itself. For the words of spirit, of God, of love, of possibility and goodness to flow through. That's the possibility and inspiration that's available to us in every single moment. It's there. It's that possibility we have. It's the breath of spirit. We are called the InSpirit community because we're on this pathway, this journey, this destination of growth. And how we grow is cultivating the spirit that's already there and making the passageway and the way for it to be released and revealed. And that's for us. And that's what we can bring into this new year when we choose to live from inspiration. If we think about it, the InSpirit is there, and it says to be inspired is to consciously use the God-given power within us. That's why I said it takes work. We have the human side of us that can say, oh no, and be defeated. And you know how much anxiety and depression and upset there is in the world today. There are things we can do to make life better. And we can be part of that. We can help ourselves and help each other because the song said, I want to share all I can give. Even if it's a little bit of light to make someone's life a little brighter, we can do that. So if we just establish together that that possibility, that light is in us, first of all, let's be aware of what limits the light, because it's already there, that light of inspiration. I could think in your own life, where is it you limit yourself? How many people worry too much? Be honest. We all do, because it's fed to us a lot with a lot of things to worry about. We have to think on the other side, oh, well, what's the other side of this problem? What's the other side of this worry? Where can I take this to a higher place? We have to cultivate that inside of us. Worry, fear. Is there any fear? Anybody afraid of something? We all have a little bit of fear. Again, we have to learn how to own the fear, recognize the fear, say, sure, it's there. What am I going to do about it? How can I balance it out? You know, my beautiful dear friend, the beautiful poet, Rumi, said, the balance of life is holding on and letting go. We hold on to the truths we value. No, we know that God and life is for us and never against us. Even though things hurt and they're hard, life is for me and never against me. What do I do with this situation? If we can know that, hold on to that, and then let go of the fear and the worry and the stress. I haven't learned how to let go of the stress yet. I'm still really working on that one. But all those things that we can start moving forward in a beautiful and wonderful way. And of course, forgiveness, of course. And what, if we all tap into the same source. Everybody taps into the same source. There's only one power, we know that. But we all have a different receptivity to it. We get different results. We have a unique consciousness that taps into it. So we don't get exactly the same results because we're all unique and different people. So we're all getting really cool things, different things. What King David said in Psalms 24:9, he said, we must lift up our gates. That's lift up and open our minds to let the divine enter. Rumi said, why do you stay in prison when the door is wide open? You aren't meant to crawl through life, so don't. That we have the two different sides from different spirits, different religions, but the same thing, we have to open ourselves to something greater. So we have to decide truly, what do we need to do right now to be open from inside out to that something more? You know, how many of you are really good with your intuition? You get flashes of insight, boom, boom. Get flashes of insight, and you know that when our intuition, I've heard it worded a different way, is catching the thoughts of God. Catching the thoughts of God. Isn't that neat? Intuition, catching the thoughts of God. But we get flashes of insight, but sometimes they're pretty crummy. Because that's our ego talking. But, Ernest Holmes says there's a test to give yourself to find out if those little flashes of insight are really the thoughts of God that we're catching, or if they're just something we should not act upon. And he says, use this test. Will it be of value to me, that flash of insight? Because of it, will I be of greater help, inspiration, encouragement, or practical help to others? If so, let me move on it. Let me work it. Let me do it. If it's of value to me and makes me a better, more beneficial person, and if it's something that might help someone else, if I'm just in someone else's presence and I'm holding that thought, is it going to make it not only better for me, but better to all those around? We get to decide. We get to decide. So here's what I want to enter into the new year with that thought of catching the thoughts of God, because what we need to do, in my perspective, is we need to make sure our thoughts are spiritualized, that our thoughts are spiritualized. We get all kinds of thoughts because we're human, and the human mind does that. They aren't bad, but we want to spiritualize them. I'm going to say what I said last week, which Ralph Waldo Emerson said, and I love. We have to hitch our earthly wagon, which is this life that's filled with good, bad, right, wrong, left, right, all these different paradoxical thinking and all this. We have to hitch that to a star. So when we get stuck in the negative side, that we know where to go, to open up to something more, something greater. Go into prayer, contemplation, walk in nature, read a spiritual book, call a friend that lifts you up. Do something that you know is going to make it better, because we need to concentrate on the things that feed inspiration. And one thing that came up from the reading, Janet, you were talking about change. And in order to really live an inspired life, we have to welcome change. It's not my favorite thing all the time, but this year, especially for me, has been one of those years where I make a plan and God laughs. I feel it and I know it and I say, okay, there's something else in store. I've got to make this work. So we look at embracing change and finding where you're stuck and holding on and unwilling to see things in a new way. Dr. Jim and I were talking about what theology would like us to talk about in the new year. Because as the year is offering, the new year again has things that you can already see are going to be a little uncomfortable. What can we do? And we were trying to think of some themes for the whole year, and finding common ground, listening for understanding, seeking peace in whatever it is. You know, something that pulls us up, that we can work together in all of this. So we have embracing change. The thing I know that opens us up to being inspired and seeing something more is gratitude. Being thankful. I mean, if we look back on the past year with eyes of gratitude, we can find the lessons, we can find the learning, we can find the wisdom. Instead, if we look back and, oh my God, I went through all of that. But if we look with gratitude, we can lift ourselves up. It can make this year that we're in this present moment, it can bring beauty into the moment we're in right now if we live gratefully. And then I think for all of us, we need to make kindness a cornerstone in our life. Aesop, of the fabulist who was born in 600 BC, said, "Not one act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted." We could think about how the kindnesses we've spread about and sprinkled about in our life. So what we're going to do now, we live in a deeply sacred and mysterious world. It's not a world that our human mind, our intellect, can really get the wholeness of. And we need to do things that pull us into something that will give us deeper meaning and deeper understanding. And so we're going to have a ritual this morning, because ritual does that. It's not the words or the objects, but it's the intention we come to a ritual with our hearts open and our minds free, so we can hear something, learn something, know something more. And that's where these little papers come in. Now, somebody asked me immediately, do we light these on fire? Well, we always have. Not this big, but we always have had magic paper for, how many, 20 years of our church's existence. But I ordered magic paper. We haven't done them since 2020. COVID, so 3 years. I said, this is the year we're going to do it. I love throwing those up in the air. Well, we ordered magic paper, and we opened them up this week. And I think it was another sign that maybe we better enter the world a little more peacefully, the new year a little more peacefully. They were little packets about that big that you throw into bonfires, and they create giant, giant flames of color. And I said, that's not what I was thinking of. Well, Peggy and I called Rob, and we were trying to find magic paper. Couldn't find it anywhere. I talked to a really, really nice magician in South Carolina, and he said, sweetie, I got it, but it's going to cost you so much for me to send it, I don't think it's worth it. And I said, you are so sweet, I'll call you first thing next year. But what I found is water-soluble paper. So it's going to be a time you have to bring your deep intention. So you have a little pencil and a little piece of paper, and if you fold your paper in half. And Kurt, could we have a little tinkly music on this, please? Oh, it must be what was on my mind, but anyway. Now, if you want to write on the back of your phone or your purse or the person next to you's arm, whatever works. But on the left side, and I'm going to do this we're going to settle in, just be ready. I invite you to close your eyes. Just free your minds and open your hearts. And ask deep inside, what is it I want to let go of and release this new year? Something that's in the way of me being my true, authentic, God-given self. What is it that I'm willing to work on, to let go, so I can let God be God as me? And when that word comes, if you'll write that on the left side of your paper, please. Don't overthink, just let whatever comes up, come up, and let that be. And then on the right side of your paper, I want you to tap in and feel that light of spirit, of inspiration, that light of truth that is the truth of who you are and who you're becoming. What are you inspired to be, to do, to see, to share, to have, whatever it is? What is inspirational for you to bring in to this new year, 2024? And write that on the right side. And we have 3 bowls here. And as our dear friend Rumi says, live life as if everything is rigged in your favor. Know that life is for us and always, always for us and never against us. And in this moment, we are basked in the light of spirit, infused with the inspiration of love and peace and joy and success and abundance and goodness. And we allow ourselves to feel that energy and that goodness as it permeates our community. And right here at this time, the inspiration that we feel lights up this room. Our faith expands, our resilience expands, and that thirst for us to grow into something more, something better in this moment, that we may share our light, our love with this world and all the things in it. How blessed we are. How good it is. And right now, as we almost close our service here at this part, please send just a blessing, a thought of gratitude, a thought of kindness out into this beautiful dome of love we have created. As Meister Eckhart says, if thank you is the only prayer you ever say, it is enough. Thank you, thank you, thank you.